guys, we're gonna make ravioli dough. Okay, so super simple for ravioli dough. It is 00 Caputo flour. That's what we use here at the restaurant. 00 is the finest mill of flour you can get, and then 2 eggs. So basically, for every egg, use 100 grams of flour. Super simple when you're making ravioli dough. All right. So we're gonna start off by obviously getting our flour down on our table. Create a well. I like to use the bottom of the container we're using. All right, and then we're gonna do 2 eggs in there. 1. And 2. All right, break up the yolks, start moving it around, and then you're gonna start to slowly incorporate the flour into the egg. So obviously there's some eggs are bigger than others. So if you get to a point where it seems like the dough's a little too dry, you could always split it with a little bit of water, you know, because you can't really cut an egg in half. So almost there. And once you get to like this nice consistency in the middle, that's when you can start really incorporating the rest of that flour in, because you know that your eggs aren't going to run on you anymore. You could also do this with a fork, but there's no better utensil than your fingers. All right, almost there, and then we're gonna really get it all mixed together. All right, so now, using your hands, you can start incorporating all the rest of this flour in. All right, so you kind of just being a little gentle with it in the beginning. All right, a little more. All right, now you can really start incorporating the rest of this flour, and you can be a little more aggressive with it now. So really start to mix it together. And don't worry, don't add any more water yet until you get to a point where most of the flour is incorporated, and then by that point you can tell if it needs a little bit more, if it needs a little water or another egg or anything. You know, again, try to use large eggs when you're doing this. Try not to use any of these small little tiny eggs that you normally get at the store. All right, try to incorporate the rest of this flour in. All right, so just from the way the dough feels, I know it's gonna need a little bit of water. So I have a little squeeze bottle here. I give it a little squirt. All right, get the rest of this flour incorporated, and then the kneading process starts. All right, so you basically are shredding the dough as you're pulling away, and then you quarter turn and mix it again. Okay, keep shredding the dough, and then you can tell it's gonna start incorporating the rest of this flour that's on the table. That. All right, it needs a touch more water because those eggs were a little small. A little bit of water, and you can really start to incorporate the rest of this flour into it. All right, get the rest of that off the table. And again, pull apart, start shredding the dough a little bit, and then start kneading. And then you're gonna do this kneading process for about 10 to 15 minutes, all right? The longer you knead it, the more chew or texture you're gonna have with your dough. So don't be afraid, you won't over knead your dough. So if it's starting to look like that, you know you're in the right shape, all right? So do that for the next 10 to 15 minutes, and you'll end up with this really beautiful, nice and silky dough. After you're done kneading it for the 10 to 15 minutes, it goes in the refrigerator for half an hour, okay? So now, as the dough's resting, we have some time, we're gonna start building the sauce, okay? So for ravioli, I love this beautiful sauce where it consists of onions. So these are already sliced, all right? A little bit of shallot. So basically, I normally call the sauce the 5 lily sauce and add a bunch of onions, but we only have some shallots and some regular onions in the restaurant right now. So same thing, Always slice, don't chop your onions because you don't want your eyes to start crying. It's when it's natural oils that are inside of the onions that come out is when it causes you to cry. And we're not looking for that, all right? Because there's no crying in pasta making, right? All right, pan's already getting hot. We're gonna add some oil. All right, and with that, onions go right in. All right, so here's your shallots, then your onions. So that goes right in. With that, a little bit of salt, all right, because we were looking to sweat these onions. And then with the salt goes in a little nub of butter. This butter's seen better days, but still butter nonetheless. All right, a little bit of butter in there, okay? So now the key to this is you're not looking to brown it, you're just looking to caramelize it, okay? So you're gonna wanna move these onions around quite a bit, okay? All right, keep moving them around. You can turn the heat up and down. So we're gonna go a little bit lower on this. While that's going, we're gonna get our pasta water boiling. All right, so we're gonna kick that heat up all the way to 15. We're gonna get this ripping boil. So you can tell by the color already in there, there's already salt in there. It's already been salted. You always salt your pasta water, don't forget, it's always gotta taste like the ocean, okay? So as this is going, you wanna keep moving it around. So as that's going, we're gonna start making our pastas. Now, pasta's rested for 30 minutes, right? And then we sheeted it out in one of the pasta sheeters. So I went down to the second to last sheeter on it, right? Second to last thing, where you can see your hand through it, all right? But it's not too thin to the point where it's gonna be overly delicate, okay? Because this sauce is gonna be super delicate. So I think we should make agnolotti because it's one of those pastas that a lot of people kind of screw up or they kind of mess up making. So we're gonna cut the tip off of our filling. So this filling right here, guys, is just ricotta and a little bit of lemon zest and a touch of Parmigiano Reggiano. So the first squirt of this always ends up coming out being a little watery, so we're not gonna use that part. So when I do it, I do dollops, just like that. Not too far apart from each other. You'll see why in a second. All right. So, as this is doing its thing, right? This is how we do it. We give it a little squirt with the water, okay? And then you flip it over just like that, okay? So now, first things first, I kind of push this down a little bit, just like that. All right, so normally a normal ravioli, you stick your fingers in this way, okay? We're making agnolotti, so it's actually a pinch. So you're pinching this way. Okay, and you're squeezing all of that air out because the air is not your friend in this. All right, and you make sure you have these nice seals. So as you're pushing and pinching, you're also pushing down, squeezing all the air out of there. All right, just like that, okay? So now as that's going, we're gonna come back and check on our onions. Make sure we're not getting any color on it. Just keep moving it around. One of my favorite pasta sauces, so good. All right, so back to the pasta. Now get your crinkle cutter, this guy right here. And you're basically gonna take a little bit off the top. So what you're doing is you're taking some off, but you're also sealing, right? The bottom piece that we just did to the top piece, okay? And you can move that aside. Now, agnolotti shape. Instead of now me pushing these down, you actually use the cutter to do it, all right? So it's one of these shapes right here. And then you always go back at the end and you just give it a nice little pinch. So basically it's these beautiful envelopes, right? So now what you're doing is you're creating these beautiful envelopes in here so that that sauce gets caught in between each one, okay? So you come back and you basically squeeze these shut. Also, if I leave these alone right now, you have a double thickness of pasta right here and it's not gonna cook all the way. So you wanna squeeze that back down to a single thickness and that's what we're doing, all right? Squeeze it back down to a single thickness. Just like that. All right, we're gonna make one more round of these because I like pasta. I feel like I need to eat some of this because of how delicious it looks. All right, come back, check on your onions. All right, a little bit longer, but it's doing what it's supposed to do. All right, now move these pastas out of the way. Come out of the way just like this. And then we're gonna do this again. Now, the good thing about it is that you can keep doing it, right? So you don't have to worry about it now having to recut this because at the fold, you'll see it's gonna end up cutting it off anyway. So do the same exact thing, all right? So a little dollops just like that. Just like that, all right? Again, a little spray of water. And then fold it over, just like that. And after you fold it over, you push down a little bit, just to seal those edges, and then pinch, okay? Pinch just like that. Now you can make these smaller, you can make them larger. It all depends on how you like your pasta. I like nice and small agnolotti. Plus it's a little bit more technique driven when you have to make them a little smaller. All right, and we're gonna do the same thing. Cutting off that first layer just like that. And then again, I could probably get 2 more out of these, right? So we'll put that aside for now. And then cut. Just like that. I'm gonna check those onions again. Make sure we're not getting any color. All right. So now, starting to get a little color, so we want to stop that. So we're gonna add a little bit of water to it. Now remember, that's salted water. You want to keep an eye on that, right? Turn down the heat just a touch. Just let that do its thing. So now we come back here. Same thing as before. Pinch these edges shut, okay? Just like that. One more. All right, just like that. Now these are gonna cook fast because they're fresh. Ooh. All right. Keep an eye on these guys, move them around, sweat them down a little bit. You want them to get slightly caramelized, but not a lot of color. We're gonna add a little bit more water. Add a touch of regular natural spring water in there. Let these sweat down. So this process right here is probably going to take about another 6 or 7 minutes. You just keep adding water to it if it starts to get a little bit too much color on it. And you're going to let it cook down, all right? It's already building a beautiful sauce in there. You check for seasoning later. Beautiful agnolotti. Second to cook. So now's a good time to add just a few little chili flakes, not a lot, all right? Good. All right, now that your onions are very nice and caramelized, we added a little bit of water to it, so it kind of looks like this. Nice and emulsified. All right, now we're gonna go in the water with our pasta, okay? So these are gonna cook really fast because they're super fresh. We just made them, right? All right, pasta's boiling, right? There you go. We're gonna do the same thing, guys. We don't cook this too long because we're gonna finish it in the water, in the sauce. So we're gonna check it. You just wanna make sure that the filling is nice and hot, which it's not. All right, so from here, we're gonna go right into the sauce. Get that pasta in there. All right, and give it a few tosses. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a little nub of butter just to finish caramelizing, finish emulsifying all this. Not a lot, just a little bit. Keep moving this around. I'm gonna emulsify all that sauce. You want all that sauce to get caught inside all those nice divots inside the agnolotti. Taste this, see where we are season wise. Delicious. Oh my god, it's good. All right. A little bit more. A little more reduction here. Onions look good. Almost there. Now that we're almost done, we're gonna add a little bit more olive oil because it's gonna create this beautiful shine. You don't need a lot. All right, now you're done. You can see that the sauce is really nice and thick. That's what we're looking for. Give it a couple more tosses. Now we're gonna plate this, all right? So, agnolotti down first. And then to finish, we're gonna take all this beautiful sauce that's left with all the onions and we're gonna go nice and scatter it around just like that. Get this onion on top. Get all of it, you don't wanna waste any of this. Just like that. And to finish, super simple. We're gonna do a little bit of Parmesan cheese. All right. And then some beautiful mint leaves right in there like that. There's nothing better than some ricotta with some onion and mint. A few more. Just like that. And then clean off your plate. All right. So we got ricotta and lemon agnolotti with the caramelized onion ragu, mint, and Parmesan cheese. Enjoy.